Hello, it's Tom Donald from the London Contemporary School of Piano. Today we're going to do a tutorial on how to play So What by Miles Davis for solo piano. This is such an iconic jazz jam piece, the sort of piece that a band plays together, a quartet or a trio or a quintet, but very rarely is there any material on how to play this as a solo piano piece. So for those of you who don't have the luxury to play in a band or a group of musicians, this tutorial will be really helpful in teaching you how to navigate classic jazz repertoire like this for solo piano, which is quite challenging, but it's also very musically rewarding to have that independence in your playing. Now, before we start, if you are a fan of our work at the London Contemporary School of Piano, you should head on over to our website, contemporaryschoolofpiano.com, and get our free resources kit, which accompanies many of these videos and also comes with powerful daily piano tips on how to improve your piano playing all around. It's a great thing, no cost at all, and a great way to really just move your playing forward. So this is a legendary piece of music, So What by Miles Davis. But it's quite intimidating to play this as a solo piano piece because the band are just unbelievable. You know, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Bill Evans. Put those guys together in a band, and how do you replicate that as a soloist? Well, we're going to try today. And actually, this piece has a lot of really good opportunities for solo piano, and it's a great way to really get involved in the music without having to commit to joining a band or finding musicians to play with. We do also have a tutorial video on our channel for this piece with a backing track, but I think it's really good to actually try and learn this as a solo piano piece. So let's get started. We're going to start with the iconic bass line. And the bass line of this piece is what forms the head of this piece. The melody really comes from the bass for this piece of music. So I'm going to show you how to play it. It goes like this. And then we do it again. So this is based on what we call a D Dorian mode. It's like a C major scale just starting on a D on its second note. We have that swing rhythm. We start with that perfect fifth interval, D to the A. This is great left-hand practice to play these bass lines. It's a really good skill to have as a pianist, is to be able to play the bass line in your left hand. So we do this motive here, finishing on the D, and then dropping down to the A, finishing on the D, and now we have three E's. D, A, and that's the first part. Let's do that again. 3, 4, 1. So that's the first part of the bass line. Now let's learn the piano chords that accompany that bass line. These are such iconic chords that Bill Evans plays in this piece. So if we play the chords in the right hand, we get a triad. We get a G major triad in a second inversion, D, G, and B. And then we do the same thing on an F major triad. So what? So what? And that's the punchiness of this motive that accompanies the title of the piece. So I'm going from this G major to this F major. Now to complete the chord, I'm going to add some things in the left hand as well to turn this into a more jazz-like chord rather than just a clean triad. But the right hand is just playing that clean triad, and you might just want to get your feel for that first. So what? It's really important to be methodical when you practice these pieces. Build it up. And that's the groove. So what? You notice my second chord is a little bit softer. It's like I'm singing it. So what? That's really important to get that accent in and that style right. So what? Okay, now I'm going to add the left hand. Now the left hand is going to play an E and an A underneath my G major triad in second inversion. And I get something like an E minor suspended fourth with a seventh in it. But putting that aside, what is really so classic about that sound is the use of perfect fourths to build the chord. We've got the E, the A, the D, and the G, and with the B on the top. So we have 4 interlocking perfect fourth intervals, and then the B just at the top there. So we get this. And we do the same for the second chord, that F major, we put underneath that the D and the G. So we have D, G, C, F, and A. So the first chord, E, A, D, G, and B. Second chord, D, G, C, F, and A. So what? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So what? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So what? 2, 3, 4, 1. So when you're playing this in the band, this is all the pianist is doing when the bass line is being played. It's a bit of an easier gig than having to do the whole thing as solo piano. But we're going to today put the whole thing together. So how do we do that? We do this. And we do it again. And that's the first part of the piece. Doesn't that sound great? Just such a simple musical hook, but so sophisticated at the same time. Simple, but sophisticated. You got those lovely chords there combined with that bass line. It's good to practice them separately at first, just to get a feel for that, and then you put it together. So what does Miles Davis do next? Genius. He does the same thing, but completely different. That's what jazz is all about sometimes. And all he does is he brings the whole melody, bass line and chords, up a semitone. But that just gives the music a completely different feel and character. And he makes a couple of modifications as well. Let's do the bass line then. Let's work this out a semitone higher on E flat Dorian, which is the same as a D flat major scale, starting on an E flat. So these will be our key notes, all of the flats, all of the black keys, plus F and C. So then we transpose that bass line to the E flat, we get this. Do that again. And this time he doesn't do this. He leaves that out. He just does this. Just to keep us on our toes, hey? Yeah, back to the B flat there. Then the E flat. All right, now the chords. We get those original chords we were playing. Hands together. We're going to take that up a semitone now. So what happens if we put the G major and the F major up a semitone? We get A flat major and G flat major. So we get these shapes now. These are such great chords. And now we add that left hand, which is F, B flat, E flat, A flat, C. So we get all those perfect fourth intervals shining through together. The C on the top there, and we get this. So this is like an F minor 7 suspended fourth to an E flat minor 7th suspended fourth. But they're the shapes. You want to think more in shape here. That's what's really going to help us. These shapes and these shapes. Right hand, left hand. Okay, let's put it together. Practice these chords just by themselves. So what? So what? 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so let's put the bass line with that. And we go back to the first key, the D again. And that's the head, that's the tune of the song. It's in the bass. Really good to practice these bass lines on the piano as a pianist. Just get some bass chops in our playing. And this is why solo jazz piano is so important to learn. I think it's an underserved skill. So now, what we're going to do, before we learn how to improvise on all of that, we have to get a sense of the structure of the piece. And this piece does have a really well set structure. So if we use jazz lingo, the structure of this piece is AABA. You might hear these sort of AABAs and AABCABs all tossed around in jazz terminology and wonder, what does it mean? Well, it means the different sections in the music. But to make it easy, we can think of the A section as the D section when it's in the D Dorian, and we can think of the B section as when it goes up a semitone to the E flat. So the structure of this is an AABA. It means that we repeat the 8-bar phrase twice on the D, so it's AA, and then the second section, the B section's on the E flat, and we just do that once, and then we return to the D. So instead of calling it AABA, maybe we could call it DD E flat D. That might be an easier way to remember it. So I'm going to do the whole structure there so you can get a sense of it, because this is really important. Some people miss it out, they forget the repeats, but it goes like this. It's the A section. A section again, it just repeats. B section. Back to the A section. And that's the head of the tune. So now we get to the fun bit of improvising on it. So how are we going to improvise on this as a solo piano piece? Well, there's all sorts of very sophisticated things we can do that are quite complex. I just want to give you a simple template to get started with. So we need a bass line to play that whole structure. And we're not going to use this bass line because that's so linked to the identity of the head that it's just going to feel like we're playing the head over and over again. And that's not what happens in the recording. In the recording, the bass player starts just playing some bass line, some fairly simple walking bass line over the 2 chords of the song and over that whole structure of the song, which is that AABA structure. And it's only really 2 chords, if you think about it. It's just the D minor section and the E flat minor section with those movements and shapes within them. And there's 2 shapes or 2 chords within each section. So it's sort of like a 2-chord song with 4 chords when you stretch it out. It's complex yet simple. It's a juxtaposition, really. That's what makes this piece such a wonderful bit of music, such a rare bit of music. In a way, it's something quite simple about improvising on it. You could explain to a kid. You can jam on this with a kid. I've jammed on this piece with kids who are learning music for the first time, and they love it, and they learn so fast. The first section's on the white keys. The second section's on the black keys. Pretty easy to remember those little instructions, and yet it works. So we're going to create a little bass line to carry us through that structure. And I've just created a very simple one here. And again, if you go to our website, contemporaryschoolofpiano.com, we have a little crib sheet that will help you with this piece, as well as all sorts of other wonderful resources and backing tracks to help develop your jazz playing. D, F, it's contemporaryschoolofpiano.com is the website. So now we've just got this walking bass line. We're going to carry that bass line for the A and the A section, that's 16 bars, and we're just going to improvise freely with that Dorian mode over the top. I'm going to just try some really simple things first. Short little phrases that are just 3 or 4 notes. I'm using a swing rhythm, ba-da-da-dum. Yeah, I'm just keeping it really simple to start with. Now go to the B section. So now do the same thing on the E flat. I'm using the same pattern. Improvising on that E flat Dorian scale. Again, which is E flat, F. So, I mean, the D Dorian scale's easy. It's all white keys, but the E flat Dorian, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, all of the black keys plus C and F. The same as the D flat major scale, if you find that easier. Doesn't really matter which order they go in. We're mixing them around, turning them around to build a solo. Now back to the D now. I can even combine 2 notes at the same time in the scale just to give it a bit more texture. Then I've finished the head. As a solo, I've finished that whole structure. And this is where it can get a bit confusing because you've got that structure of 16 bars on the D, A and A. They're both 8 bars each. 8 bars plus 8 bars is 16. Then the additional 8 bars on the E flat section. And then the last 8 bars on the D section again, and you get that A, B, A structure. And when we translate that into soloing, it means then you're ending and starting in the same place. So some people can get lost a little bit doing that. Sometimes that's where it is good to practice it with Miles Davis's track, just to get a feel of the structure of the piece, because you'll notice if you're playing in the wrong key. It's a semitone out, right? Now this time when I solo on it, I'm going to keep the same bass line. It's a handy bass line to use for the solo in. I'm going to now make up some chords, but I don't want to use triads like typical sounding chords like that. I'm going to be quite creative with my harmonies. I'm going to stack notes together in dissonant semitones and these sort of shapes. You can really experiment with it, but I'm just cushioning the notes of the scale, the mode, and get quite a lot of warmth from that sound, which Bill Evans does so superbly in this track when he jams it out with the band. And I can do the same thing on that second key, that E flat Dorian. Yeah, all these sort of things. Just sounds great. Jazz gold, really. Okay, I put it together. Let's do that again. I'm going to use some more single note improvisation here in the right hand. Back to the head. Caught you out there, didn't I? So that's just a starting point for building a solo piano version of it. Obviously, it can go much further than that, but as a starting point, this is a really good way to turn this piece into a solo piano piece. So get practicing with it, start playing around with the song. Visit our website, contemporaryschoolofpiano.com, to find out more about our free resources kit and about all of the ways we can help your piano playing, whether you're just signing up for our free daily piano tips, which some of them are really, really powerful, by the way, will really have an influence on your playing, or whether you want to do some more things with us. We also have a flash sale on our 30-day jazz musician program, which is definitely, for many of you, will bring huge value and insight to your piano playing, your jazz piano skills, as well as our Groove Mastery course, which is our flagship program, and of course our ultimate program, The Complete Musician. So we have a lot of really great opportunities, as well as our one-to-one coaching, that will bring huge value to your piano playing. But in the meantime, enjoy your Miles Davis, and I'll see you soon.